Hello YouTubers out there, this is Jerry Sutterby at the movies. So, very briefly I'm going to tell you about my experience watching Ready Player One, Steven Spielberg's new film, which has attracted an audience. Maybe not a huge blockbuster as some might have predicted, but nonetheless it seems to be doing okay at the box office. But that's neither here nor there. I saw the film about 2.5 weeks ago, and one of the things that I noticed while watching it was that during the scenes, the action scenes which are inside of this virtual reality world, the Oasis, that the audience that I saw it with, and there were a lot of younger people, younger than I am, sort of fell dead silent. Like they were watching it, but they were gazing at this as if it was an actual video game, I gather. But they were silent. But during the scenes of humor, the interaction between the characters in the real world, and of which there's a lot of humor involved, and we get to know the characters to some degree, before they, or at least during intervals in the real world when they are not in the Oasis, the audience was really involved. They were laughing along with the one-liners and some of the humor that was, particularly the two Asian kids in the film who have their own avatars and all this other stuff. So we get to know the real people behind the avatars, basically. And those scenes generated some emotional interaction. Usually laughter, and just a sense of really being engaged. But during the scenes, particularly in the finale, where there's a lot of, this war between, for example, the giant, Iron Giant, and all these other, characters in the virtual reality world, and a lot of lasers and this and that and the other. I mean, just a lot of action, all CGI. There wasn't, you could hear a pin drop. So, what it reminded me was something that Roger Ebert wrote about the first Transformers movie, that is Michael Bay's version, back in 2007. So I'll read to you what he wrote, because this is what I remembered. He says, and I quote, the first Transformers movie. I saw the movie on the largest screen in our nearest multiplex. It was standing room only, and hundreds were turned away. Even the name of Hasbro, maker of the Transformer toys, was cheered during the titles, and the audience laughed and applauded and loved all the human parts and the opening comedy. But when the Battle of the Titans began, a curious thing happened. The theater fell dead silent. No cheers, no reaction whether Optimus Prime or Megatron was on top. No nothing. I looked around and saw only passive faces looking at the screen. My guess is we're getting to the point where CGI should be used as a topping and not the whole pizza. So, that may be it. Because the truth is, obviously, the first Transformers movie came out now 11 years ago. CGI has developed dramatically since then. But perhaps when it's a video game, when it's CGI, there is a disconnect. Now, I didn't necessarily feel it while watching Ready Player One, because I did feel more connected to the characters when they were not involved in all this, intense CGI action scene type stuff, of which some of it is very well done, so I'm not going to say it doesn't work. But maybe, you know what it is? Maybe CGI is just not tangible. I recall somebody saying to me that it was a younger person from a few years back. He told me that when he watches The Dark Crystal, for example, from 1982, or Labyrinth, or any of those films where puppetry was used, it creeped him out. Like, I can't deal with it. I'd rather have CGI. And I thought that was an interesting comment. So it seems that if you connect to something, and back in the day a lot of puppetry was used for creatures and all sorts of things, especially in Star Wars, that maybe there is a disconnect when it's CGI, but when it's the real thing, it feels like you can connect to it. And maybe that's the problem. So who knows? What do you think? What do you think of Ready Player One? Which is a very good movie, by the way. I would love to do a full review, but I've done it on the blog. So I'm going to put the link to my review in this video. But what do you think? Do you think CGI sometimes there's a disconnect? What do you feel when you watch CGI stuff? Do you know it's CGI? And when you do know, do you feel a disconnect from the screen? But are you more connected when it's actual people on screen talking that are not being motivated by or manipulated by CGI effects? It's an interesting question. So let me know what you think. Please subscribe to my channel. I promise to have more videos. It's a little complicated nowadays, but I will try to do more as time goes on. And let me know in the comments. Please hit like and share if you can. So yeah, this is Jerry Sadovy at the Movies, signing off.